total. Hello, 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 hello. I believe that I am online. I'm not exactly sure, but I believe that I'm online. It would be great to find out. This is Dave Blum with Dr. Clue, and the topic of today's uh, webinar is how to create a team event that everyone will love. Let's see. Like I said, I have been having some technical difficulty this morning, so I am hoping that we are live and happening here. There is a comment bar underneath this video, and I'm hoping that you all see that. Oh, there is no comment bar. The comment bar has gone away. Well, we're going to make an assumption today because of the technical difficulties that everything is working and that you're all hearing this. We'll find out. Hopefully somebody will send me a text. My number is 415-699-3905. If you want to send me a text with any questions. We're going to do this a little bit low tech today. And I need to set up one more thing, which is our Google Hangout. So let's see if I can get that happening as well. Let's see. So let's see. What do I need to do? I need to, folks, you can bear with me for 1 second. I'm going to send over to myself so that I can get access to my my slide deck. What a morning it's been. Google Hangouts is the most amazing and frustrating thing, and I couldn't get it to embed into my into my homepage. We are still going to be good. You are in the right place for how to create a team building event that everyone will love, and which won't break your budget. I'm Dave Blum, and I'm the owner and CEO, Grand Poobah of Dr. Clue Treasure Hunts, and coming to you from beautiful, sunny Northern California, right on the edge of the wine country. I guess that's what you would call it. And I am working to get access to my slide deck so we can have our fantastic webinar. And let's see if this works out now. We're going to find out in a second. And we haven't got it yet. We're working on it. We are so close. Give me 1 more second, and I will have this happening for you. Unfortunately, we don't have the ability to leave comments. That was one of the things that I had all set up this morning when it all went kablooey. So give me a moment here while I get us set up. We're really, really, really close. Again, Dave Blum here. You're in the right place if you're here for how to create a team building event that everyone will love. All I'm doing right now is working on getting you my slide deck so that I can actually show you my slides. Otherwise, I am doing it without, which would be humorous and crazy. So hang on for it, if you can bear with me for extra uno minute that we're going to do, and then I'll have this for you in a second. Maybe even half a second. Lucky. Interesting morning. Technology. You love it until you don't love it. All right, we're close here. I'm going to just start while I'm getting this set up. I want to talk a little bit. What I am doing today is talk a little bit about how you can have the most amazing team building programs without breaking the bank. And that is a problem that everyone has. None of us has time. None of us has money, and yet we still have to do something for our groups. And what I want to do is share with you a process for making that happen, and without having to go to a professional team building company like me. And ooh, we're getting closer, folks. Let's see what happens. All right. I appear to still be on here, which is great. Excellent. Let me give you a little definition while we're talking here. Team building is defined as a group event where that gets people away from their desk and brings people closer and enhances their productivity, right? So, it's obviously just one part of the whole process. But, okay, I'm still playing with things. I think I got it. Ooh, let's find out what happens. Hey, can you see that, folks? You should in a second. Hey, check it out. There's my slide deck. Fantastic. Thanks for being patient. All right, I'm going to jump right into this. We don't have the chat box. It disappeared in my maneuvering this morning. That's okay. We're going to go with it. And I'm just going to talk, and that's the way it's going to be. So let's see what we got going on here. Why am I sharing this with you? Well, like I said, I've been in team building for a long while. It's work that I really love. And I believe that people work better and happier when they're part of a close team where people know, like, and respect their coworkers. And like I said, team building is an event which brings people closer. It's away from the desk, and it enhances people's productivity. It's only part of the puzzle of creating an engaged workforce, which, and really, we're talking about things like communication, good communication from management, taking an interest in people's career paths, and expressing appreciation. But there's something kind of special about that social interaction that comes from when you're outside of work, and when you're breaking down boundaries and really pulling people together, and it gets away from the hierarchies. So I'm guessing you're here because you feel the same way, that team building is important, or at least you believe team building is important, but you don't have either the time or the budget to do it. And this really pains me, I mean, I've seen the impact. I've seen what it's like when people come together almost like a family, a functional family anyway. I've seen people cry. I've seen people laugh. It's a pretty powerful experience, these types of things, when they're done well, when they're done strategically, right? I once saw a person who was identified as an introvert, and that person was so touched when during the program we acknowledged that they were that there was value to an introvert, that they brought something to the team that maybe the extroverts didn't bring. And they were so touched because they had never been appreciated and acknowledged like that. That can happen when you have people away from the office doing this kind of thing. I once saw someone who he had this incredible 180-degree turn after he realized that his negativity was bringing down the team, and that it had an impact on people. And he changed his way just by doing this program. So there's amazing things. So I'm obviously a big fan, and I'm hoping that you are as well. I just want to tell you that, you can have that experience. You can have a great team building program. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg, and you don't have to be held back by the time it takes if you plan it with the process I'm going to describe. Honestly, when I first started out, my programs were not so good. I'd say they sucked. They didn't have a coherent structure. People were confused. Didn't make it relevant. There was a degree of perfectionism that really slowed me down. I wanted every program to be perfect before I unleashed it on an audience. And it would take me weeks to create each program, and that was crazy. And so you don't have to do that either, all right? I want to help you avoid those same mistakes. A little bit about myself. Let me pop over so you can see me again. Hey, so a little bit about myself. I've been doing this business for about 20 years, Dr. Clue, and I pretty much started with a background in tourism, in teaching, and a love of games and puzzles. And I really do think there's something special about the treasure hunt puzzle motif or model. I'm a huge fan of Indiana Jones, Da Vinci Code, National Treasure, even the Goonies, if you've seen that one. And the thing about all these films is it's always a team effort. You like to think that it's the hero, the solo cowboy hero, Indiana Jones, John Wayne, but it never is that way, right? You think of Indiana Jones. He had a team, even when he was out there in Africa, looking for the lost ark. He gathered this little ad hoc team around him. He had his ex-girlfriend Marion. He had the Egyptian fellow Salah. He also had his fellow Professor Brody. The thing is that Indiana Jones didn't have any idea how to pull this team together. He didn't have good communication skills or anything. Somehow or another, they followed him. But that was really the inspiration for my business, was to teach managers and leaders what Indiana Jones didn't know, which is how to pull together a team using skillful communication and through clever planning, and by building trust, and by encouraging cooperation and collaboration, but to preserve some of that fun, some of those puzzles and clues that you see in these great adventure movies. And so that's what I've been doing with my business, and it's something that I invite you to inject into the team building that you're going to create after I share these tips with you. So let's see. Moving along. Today's event, I want to include the one mistake that you're probably making in your team building planning that could be costing you hundreds of hours and hundreds of dollars. And really that main mistake has to do with diagnosing things. And we'll be talking about that. I want to help you create an event that exactly fits your team and how they operate. I want you to make sure your program is in context to team issues and on budget. I'm going to make sure that everything feels relevant and that appropriate insights are likely to occur. That doesn't mean they will occur, but they are likely to occur if you create the right environment and you think things out. A lot of people don't think things out, of course. You jump in and say, okay, we're going to do a team building event, and you throw it at people, and you haven't thought it out, and then people say, wow, that's not really relevant. So we'll talk about this. And ensure that the program builds on itself to a satisfying crescendo. This is key. This is key. You want it to be step by step by step, getting more and more exciting, so that it really leaves a wow moment. So the goal is that you can spend less time reinventing the wheel and more time actually doing your job, which is what it's all about. That's where the rubber meets the road, isn't it? Right? We're busy and we want to do team building, but we can't put aside our entire job life in order to do this task, this one thing. And so we want to get you to do it and get back to your job. At the end, talk about the one trick that will turn a good team building event into a great one, all in 5 minutes, and maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And also at the end, you may be asking, where can I go for more team building resources? So I'll have a special offer for you. Nothing too pitchy, all right? Just some good resources for you. So who here would like to know how to create a team building event that everyone will love and which won't break your budget? I'm going to ask you to metaphorically, virtually raise your hand if you're ready to do it. If I had my comment box, I would know for sure, but it disappeared in my last second technical scrambling. But we are on, and that is a lesson that I'm going to take back to me when I create my next team building event. Is no matter what, you must go on. Let's continue. So I want to share just what this planning process has done for me. Like I said, my events used to be pretty haphazard. I didn't really have a structure. I would present a game, usually a treasure hunt, which is kind of the canvas I paint with. And I'm just going to readjust here. And I made a lot of mistakes. One of the things I used to do is I used to make it really competitive, right? And I would give prizes to the winners, and then I would just kind of walk away. And no learning really happened. And that wasn't very successful. All I knew was if you're doing a game, there have to be winners and losers, and it has to be competitive. And I didn't think there was much more to team building than that, right? But there is. There's much more to it. So that was one of the things I used to do. I didn't really know very much about the participants. I didn't know much about their goals. For example, I did a program pretty early on where I was all ready with my best content. We were going to work on delegation, we were going to work on collaboration, we were going to work on trust, we were going to do all this great stuff, we were going to build some bonding, and we were going to really work on efficiency. Problem was that pop over so you can see me, so you can see my face as I'm talking about this. So the problem was that this was a group of salespeople and their spouses. Now, do you really think that the spouses cared anything about efficiency and productivity and the goals of the company? Absolutely not. They were there to have fun. So, they're like this, arms crossed. Like, why in the world are we talking about productivity and efficiency in this situation? It made no sense. So, you have to tailor to the audience and know what's going on, right? So, what has this planning process done for me? So what I'm going to teach you today is how a certain process has really revolutionized my programs. I regularly get testimonials like this one. Oops. Before hiring you, there seemed to be a little disconnect. Some employees were not real close-knit like we wanted. We were trying to bring people together and create more of a company team rather than individual departments. The event with Dr. Clue helped us get to know each other on a personal level, bring us together in a way where we were all equal in terms of being human beings and seeing that some of us had strengths and weaknesses in other areas other than our jobs. Immediately after our event, the morale was better as far as people feeling good about the company and each other. It seemed to lighten our load. Everybody was quite happy there in terms of feeling good about each other in the work environment. This is the type of comments that you can and you will be having every program, as long as you follow a process, a coherent process, So let's continue on. So, why so hard with these reasons? Well, a lot of reasons, really, and you know what they are. People are busy, and that includes you, of course, but people are busy. So, it's hard to get the results you want when people are maybe not feeling that they should be there, particularly if you have people who are billing by the hour. They might feel that there are better things that they could be doing than being there. And that sort of jives with the next thing, which is that people are skeptical. And this says more to their past experience, right? That they have done something that, done a team building program that didn't go well, that didn't go the way that they wanted it to. Right, and so they're skeptical. This is going to be hokey. It's going to be not well thought out. It's going to be overly, I want to use the word touchy-feely, right? I don't know if that's the exact word, but they're worried that they're going to be singing Kumbaya and falling into each other's arms, which could be the point of your program, but it probably isn't. So Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. So, if people are skeptical, they come in and they're like, I don't know, this is going to be bad. And it's because of past experience and what they've heard about team building. It's kind of like motivational speakers. They're a little bit worried about how it's going to be. People are really diverse, right? You've got introverts and you've got extroverts. You can't do the same program if you have a group that is entirely introverted. And that sometimes, if not often, jives with people who are analytical and work as engineers in IT. They can, they're not all introverts, obviously, but it can be often the case. And a program for them is going to be different from a bunch of extroverted people, particularly in sales and marketing, right? You've got people who are active, and then you've got people who are sedentary, right? Having to do with a lot of times it has to do with their job, right? And so if you've got an active group, you might want to be thinking about doing something for like Team Olympics or something like that. Whereas if you've got a sedentary group, maybe you want to do something where they're not running around. Maybe they're doing cooking or doing tabletop puzzles, right? You've got millennials, and then you've got baby boomers and everything in between. And they're very different. We could do a whole webinar on the difference between these two types, right? So you want to challenge them. If you can, challenge them both. And there are certain activities, like I believe puzzle-based activities can be suited to both, the different generations if you be intentional about it, using pop trivia from now and from yesteryear and so on. There's a lot to take into account because of the diversity of people, and you need to know this and plan accordingly. So what's the solution? Well, I propose a 5-step process that can transform any team building activity into a great activity, any good activity into a great activity. And seriously, a poker tournament could be a team building if you did it right, right? It doesn't have to be, one of the traditional things, treasure hunt or team cooking or whatever. And obviously, we're also talking about the full spectrum, right? On the one end, you've got bowling and go-karting and so on. And I don't necessarily think those are team building because they're not very structured. So I'm talking about a structured activity that uses a process. First step in the process, diagnose the situation, right? Diagnose it. Why are you doing this team building? Is it a celebration? Is it a reward? Is it an intervention? Why are you doing this? That's really the question, and you need to know this. Another way of putting it is, what's the gap between where they are and where you'd like them to be, right? For example, if there's not enough cross communication and too much siloing, then maybe you want to design something that encourages more of a cross-team collaboration situation. Maybe it's something that dawns on them. You want to diagnose what, who they are and why they're doing the team building and what's needed. Is it a celebration? Is it a reward? Is it an intervention? What's the situation and why are you doing this? Because not every team building is trying to fix a broken team or fix a problem. Sometimes it's just, here's what we got. We've been working hard and we need a celebration. We need to blow off some steam. Okay, good to know that. Or we've got, we want to celebrate because we've had a really great quarter or a great year, and so maybe that's your team building. Or maybe you really do have a problem, and you really want to bridge the gap between where they are and where you'd like them to be. Aspirin does not treat all ills, right? Absolutely. You need to, apply the right medicine for the right group. And so you need to think this out. Takeaway is one size does not fit all, obviously. Number 2 in my 5-step process is assess the temperament, right? You need to plan according to the culture, right? I mean, think about it. I mean, it can be kind of hard to generalize what the culture is for a team, but there are some commonalities, right? Like as we said before, some groups are active, others are not. Some groups have long attention span, others do not. If they have a long attention span, you can sit them down and have them do puzzles. You can have them do a giant jigsaw puzzle, and they'll go to it. If you've got a short attention kind of group and a short attention kind of culture, a fast-paced startup, you might want to do something that is constantly changing, constantly moving, right? Some groups are competitive. In fact, some cultures, but the temperament of certain groups can be very competitive, and other people can be much more relationship oriented. And this starts to get into DISC and Myers-Briggs, but there are some commonalities in temperament of groups, and you need to know how you want to do it. If they're a competitive group, you do a competitive program. If they're not, you don't want to throw competitive at them, because I've had this experience before. People come up to me and said, "Why was it so competitive?" I've had people come up to me and say, "Why wasn't it more competitive?" So there you have it. Some people like to build things. Other people are more creative, right? Don't necessarily want to have a group of strong creatives being asked to do engineering tasks and build a bridge or to build a tower, and vice versa. So you need to know the temperament of the group. Some people are extroverted and some people are more cerebral, as we talked about. So you've got a very extroverted group. You might want to have them interacting with other people. When we do our treasure hunts for salespeople, we have lots and lots of opportunities for people to stop and ask strangers to do things, or even kind of like call a lifeline. Get on the phone and call someone, stop someone, get the answer, and that's what they like because they're extroverted. Introverted people, they don't want to talk to strangers. They want to solve problems, but they don't want to do it in a way that feels really out of their comfort zone. So you want to plan according to the culture. And the takeaway is tap into the temperament, what you know about people, as much as possible. Taking into account, of course, there's great diversity, even within temperament types, right? Number 3 is you want to fit the program to the circumstances and to the budget. And, the circumstances do fit the budget, right? I mean, absolutely. If you're going through a stressful time, as we talked about, you might want to have a celebration, something to blow off steam. If there have been recent layoffs, you're going to know where people are coming from, right? And you might want to craft something that addresses the fact that people are worried about their jobs, and that even within that environment, we need to sort of stay focused and not make our business decisions around what will make me look good so I can preserve my position, so that I can stay viable in this position. That's going to kill the company. It's very hard to get people out of their own selfish concerns on this, but it is important. So you want to fit the program to the circumstances. If there's been a recent merger, your team building program might very well be all about getting people who don't know each other to come together, people who don't know each other very well, and merge the old company with the new company. And so you're going to, that has to do with the circumstances. If there's a lot of cost cutting going on, obviously you're going to have to keep your budgets down. And it's going to be very ad hoc. It might be getting together and playing a card game, but do it intentionally, right? It all depends on the circumstances and the budget. And like I said, it definitely does affect the budget. If you've been having a hard time, you know that you're going to have to keep the budget down. If you're in a period of prosperity, you hire out, or you spend the money, and you do something really elaborate. So create the business within the business context. This is absolutely stuff that you guys know. It's a no-brainer. You want to clarify the learning points. This is really what it gets down to, is what do you want the team to learn? If leadership is the focus, you want to create an event that has lots and lots of decisions to make, right? You might even want to front load it with content about trust and communication. If cross-team collaboration is the issue and you've got a lot of siloing going on, and you want people from one department to talk to other departments, then you're going to create that's your learning point, right? And you might want to set up the competition where there are moments where people have to work together in a unexpected way. And I'll talk about this in the final point, but one of the things that we sometimes do in my treasure hunt programs is we'll have people flick over so you can hear me talk about treasure hunts. Yeah. One of the things we sometimes do with our treasure hunts is we'll have what I call a half clue. where some of the teams will have the left half of a clue and some of the teams will have the right half of the clue. And they don't know this. All they know is that they have this half clue and they don't know what to do with it. And slowly it dawns on them that they might not have the information that they need. They're not going to get it from me, but they might be able to get it from someone else from one of the other teams. They might have to work together with a different department or division, which is very counterintuitive if you are if you're thinking this is a competition. They're the enemy. How can we partner with the enemy? Well, as we know, that can be a huge learning point for people, that even in the most competitive seeming environment, there's opportunities for collaboration and partnership. And not just in between departments, but even between companies. As we know, as we watch, I'm always amazed when I walk down to downtown Windsor, California, and there's a KFC combined with a Taco Bell. And I thought, these have got to be the biggest competitive companies around. When I was growing up, they sure were. They were commercials against each other on Super Bowl Sunday. Well, now they're working together because that's the way it works. There was an opportunity there and they went for it and they put it behind them. So that could be a big learning point, right? So you want to clarify the learning points. If delegation is what you're looking for, maybe you want to provide challenges that require different skill sets and let people choose roles. And so they really practice. So you want to have a variety of different tasks and skills and roles, and then let people work on practicing on that. It all depends on what you think this group needs. Again, the gap between where they are and where you would like them to be. And a lot of times it has to do with learning. So you need to think, what do you want people to learn? And how can you convey that in the structure of your activity? The takeaway, everything is an opportunity for learning. Everything's an opportunity for learning, right? Someone once said to me that there are no mistake makers, there are only life learners. So there are no mistakes, but there's a lot of opportunities for learning. And a team building program is a huge opportunity for learning if you treat it that way. And it's a wasted opportunity, right? It is a wasted opportunity. I'm going to mouth that for you. It's a wasted opportunity when you do a team building program and you don't give people an opportunity to learn. And you just say, well, whatever, we're just going to go out and go drinking. Fine. There's no learning that happens, and you've missed an opportunity to really address what is going on with people. And you don't have to do it in a heavy-handed way, but why not take this chance to get something done, right? Something that people can take back and they go, wow. And I think it's important, number 5, to structure towards a kind of crescendo. What I mean by that is that everything builds and that there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and that you're going somewhere and people feel the structure. It's not just blah, here you go, here's the event, do it, experience it, walk out. Is it over yet? I don't know. I think so. Yeah, that's not really what we want. You want things, to have a structure and go beginning, middle, end. And I learned this lesson really well in Japan, where I used to teach English years ago, is that I would walk into class and everybody would stand up at the beginning of class, and one monitor from the class would say, attention, in Japanese, and then they would all bow, and then the teacher would bow back to them and they would all sit down. That was the opening ceremony of every junior high classroom. And then they would have the class. At the end, they all stand up. One person says bow or attention, and they all bow to their teacher, and they sit down, and then class is over and they walk out. Beginning, middle, and end. And it was so elegant. It was weird. I mean, we're so used to, our students sort of slouching in and then slouching out, and that's not the way they do it in Japan. But I think that there's a real good practice when you're putting together team building. I like to have at the beginning some sort of an introduction where you do an explanation, you do rules, you do icebreakers, really to get people going. And we'll get into that a little bit later. And then you have the body activity, and I prefer experiential activities because, when people emerge immerse themselves. They let their hair down, and they don't really have they it's like they forget that they're at the office. They forget about the relationships, and so it's nice to have an experiential, immersive sort of experience of some sort. And if you can actually have them role play something, even better. And then at the end, we want to have some sort of a conclusion where there's a debrief, and there's some sort of a closing activity. So you want to structure for a crescendo and go for the wow moment. It's important. Go for the wow. For example, when I do my treasure hunt with the half clue, there's a wow moment when people realize that they have to work together with other people, and that it's so counterintuitive. There's a wow moment when I do one of our bike build programs where we build bikes, solve puzzles, earn parts of a bicycle, and we give them to kids for charity, and the kids come in. Nobody's expecting that. They think they're just building the bikes and they're giving them away, and someone will come pick them up. And then the kids come in from Big Brothers Big Sisters or the boys club, girls club, and they come in and get the bikes, and it's a wow moment. You could have a guest appearance by the CEO, the guest appearance by a celebrity. That would be really cool. But you want to have a wow moment, the great reveal, that moment where everything builds to this great moment of wow, the jaw drop moment, which is what I love in movies, and I don't often see, right? When I see that moment, my jaw drops, and I just go, wow, that was amazing. That's what you want, right? And the team building really should have that. If it doesn't, again, it's just, throw something out there and see what happens. Instead, you're being consciously building them up. So takeaway is that the team building programs are a 3-act play, right? Beginning, middle, and end. Intro, body, and conclusion. So again, virtually, who here is ready to plan your next kick-ass team building event? I hope you're all raising your hand, because I am. Right on. So let me give you a little summary. We've talked briefly here about planning a well-structured team building event, how hard it is, because people are busy, because you're lacking the resources, because participants come in skeptical. But it's worth it, really. These events, they can be more than just a distraction and day off. They can really change people's lives. They can change your worldview. It can boost morale and engagement. It can teach valuable skills. And the trick is knowing the people, knowing the situation, knowing the learning points, and structuring it to a crescendo. Ba-boom! The cymbals crash. So in a moment, I'm going to make you an offer as my way of saying thank you to you for this, for spending your time with me in my technical extravaganza. First, I want to just share with you one trick that will turn, actually 2 tricks that will turn a good team building event into a great one, and that's a great opener and a great closer. Okay? Now, the 2 that I want to share with you today are the story of your name and spotlight appreciation. And these are things that I do in almost all of my programs. Let me explain how this works. My name is David Ross Blum. My first name is David. It's a biblical name, nice biblical name. Most of my friends call me Dave, if they're not calling me Dr. Clue. My middle name is Ross, which comes from my paternal grandmother, whose name is Rose. And then my last name is Blum, which means to bloom in German. I never thought about the fact that that I'm a rose that is blooming. That's kind of cool. I don't know if my parents thought about that intentionally. But here's the interesting thing, is that my first name should have been Victor. Why, you ask? Well, my grandma, my mom's mom, was offered a really nice baby present from my mom if I was named after a cousin's father whose name was Victor. So in other words, they wanted to pimp out my name in order to get a really good present. And on my mom's behalf, my grandma accepted that present, and they told the cousin I was going to be named Victor, and then they named me David anyway. And I have this great imagining that they would come over someday and I would have to hide all of my bowling trophies and I would have to hide my high school diploma, you know, and I have to put up a big sign that says, "Hello, happy birthday, Victor," you know, and this never happened. But it could have, right? So that's the story of my name. And so this is a icebreaker I do very often at the beginning of programs where I have each person share the story of their name, what you know about your first name, your middle name, your last name, anything you know about how you got your name. Did it change in Ellis Island? Does it actually have a meaning, as it often does in Asia? All of that. And I do this really early on because it's a low impact, low emotional barrier way of having people share something, and it gets them to start, well, helps them know each other's names, but also gets them to start knowing each other and seeing other people as people, not just as job titles, those people who they work with all the time, right? So story of your name, boom, you do that 5 minutes, 1 minute per person, and they will really get to know each other and it will really warm things up. It's an icebreaker that warms things up. The second one, which I called Spotlight Appreciation. Let me explain how that works. The basic concept here is that nobody receives enough appreciation, ever. Nobody receives enough appreciation. So what you do is you have each person for 1 minute or even 30 seconds be in the spotlight, receiving appreciation from their teammates in a circle. So the way that might work is, you know, let's say that I'm going first. I would sit quietly while people said, "Dave, I really appreciated what you contributed during today's team building activity. You were our Energizer bunny. You were the person who had the big picture. You were the person who was so good at doing icing the cake, or you were the person who was so good at solving those clues. You know, all the ones about movies. You were the guy. Hey, right on. Thank you so much." And you look in that person's eye and you say this to them. And everybody will say this to the person in the spotlight. And for 30 seconds or a minute, they have to just take it. They just have to accept what they're hearing. And then we go to the next person in the team who for 30 seconds or a minute is in the spotlight receiving appreciation from their teammates, and on and on and on and on. If you've got 5 people on a team, which is what I recommend for most team building, each person is going to get a minute and it'll take about 5 minutes total. But it's a great activity as a end of activity to cement the relationships and for people to feel like not only did they achieve something and it was recognized, but also to express appreciation is huge. And that really bonds people. Many times this is the most important thing that we do. It's more important than the activity itself, is giving people an opportunity to give and receive appreciation. So those are my gift to you that will improve every single program, because it'll start strong and it will finish strong. And then you get people from A to B, and if nothing else, they will feel like they know their teammates better, which is the #1 reason that people do team building, right? The #1 reason, to get to know people better who they don't necessarily know very well, who they only see as a job title for that person, right? And you know, I like to think of it, if you look up above, there's a water, right? What we want to do is lower the water level so you can see what's beneath, right? And we all show a certain thing. So those are cool. You don't want to make the mistake of thinking you need to do this alone. Not easy to do team building. You can put together a team. There's lots of great resources online, and you know, in fact, I'm going to give you one at the end here. In fact, I'm going to give you one right now. Remember, you weren't hired to be an event planner. Most of you weren't. Some of you were. Most people, it was put, you know, for some reason it was put in your lap and you agreed to do it. There are resources out there, and I want to share one great one with you. This is the Discovery Education Puzzle Maker, right? Because I don't have the chat box, I'm not going to be able to copy that into that. But if you send me an email, or when I follow up with you guys, I will include this link because it's a good one. You go here and it'll help you make puzzles. And if you want to use puzzles as part of your event, it will allow you to do it. You can make a great hidden message word search and have it all automated. I use this one all the time. There's about 5 different puzzles that you can make online and print them out, copy them over, It's a great resource. It's not very well known. It's been there for years, and apparently it's not going away. So I love this one. And there are many, many other resources. Let me know. So let me quickly share with you this special offer, and it's very simple. I will do a 30-minute phone brainstorming session with you. 30 minutes of my time to brainstorm your program from start to finish. If you don't have a program, we'll talk about all the different possibilities, right? And I'm also offering a discount on any of our programs. If you decide that you just want it done for you, we're offering a 15% discount on any of our 9 pre-made team building programs, anywhere from corporate social responsibility, bike builds and things like that, or the different types of treasure hunts we do. So you get 30-minute photo brainstorming session and a discount if you want it. So that's my offer. I'm sticking to it. Like I said, we'll help you get clear, we'll spitball solutions, or if you like, we can have us take it off your plate. It's not for everyone, right? It's for people who really care about delivering great events. It's for people who want the very best for their team. And it's for people who are ready to kick some team building ass. Ooh, I said the word ass. I apologize. So it's normally $400 for this service. You know, 15% off of a $2,000 program is $300 right there, and it could be quite a bit more. And then my time, which is usually about $150 an hour, you get for $57. You get this. And what you got to do is all you have to do is go to this link, and you make the payment, and then we schedule the time together. If it goes more than 30 minutes, that's okay. Point is that you feel supported in putting together your program. Again, I'm going to need to send all of this. I've got your email addresses. I'll send you this link as well. If you want to do it, just go ahead and pay it, and then we'll set up a time to chat. I have one other bonus here. One more thing I'm going to need to send you, which is a 30-minute audio that I created just recently. It's called Beyond Gridlock, Dr. Clue's Guide to Accelerated Team Buy-In. And it's at that address. Again, I will forward that on to you as well. Learning points in this is it talks about buy-in. What is it and what it isn't? The questions that leaders are commonly asking about buy-in and questions they should be asking. Engagement, team engagement, why it's important, how to get it, right? There's a whole bunch of different ways that you can get team engagement. It's a popular buzzword right now. The 5 levels of attitude that people bring to the office, and the 5 ways to win and lose trust. And how can you create a team that has such a strong sense of mission that it's actually a movement for change? I mean, this is the biggest problem in teams, is that people, they just aren't bought into the mission, right? And they aren't engaged, and they lose trust. And so I've got a 30-minute really cool audio piece here that you get for free that will talk about how to get buy-in. If you have any questions, you can ask them now. You can send me an email. I should probably have put my email address. You probably know my email address. It's dave@drclue.com. dave@drclue.com. You can call if you have any questions. You can text me at on my phone. Actually, my phone is a different number. Yeah. You will. You know, if you have any questions, I'm sure I will hear from you. That is it, folks. It has been a pleasure talking with you and thinking on my feet and making this happen. I would love to hear your comments. Dave@drclue.com. I will follow up with all the significant links from this webinar. I also will be taping it, so if anybody would like to have a replay, I will send you the replay address as well, which will be a YouTube video. Again, really an honor, and I just want to encourage you guys that this is just a beginning. All things come to an end, but it's a beginning for you to put on a killer, kick-ass team-building event, and I'm here to help. Thank you so much, and I'm going to pop off now and see you out there in the field.